Hello again, friends. I figured you weren't depressed enough, so it's time for another Skitzo rant, right? Anyways, so a lot of people have this idea of love and affection and what true love really means. And a lot of people will have different opinions on what true love is, right? So I'm just going to come out and define it, at least for what I feel it's, true love is unconditional love for another person, not based on immutable characteristics, not based on anything. It's just this person by, the red thread of destiny, if we're going to use, say, like an Eastern analogy, because I'm a degenerate weeb, and that's the only way I can really express things, because I don't watch Western media. At least I try not to when I can. But, like, the red strand of destiny is linking two people together, and it's inseparable. This is just who you're meant to be with logistically, and that's just how it's going to be. And that, at least to me, is, like, the canonical idea of what true love is. Now, that's all well and good in, like, fiction, and that's all, awesome for stories or whatever. But realistically, in the real world, all love is conditional, and I don't think there's any sort of, at least for a woman, for a man, there's no such thing as actual love. Like, women simply do not love men. And, there will never be unconditional love for a man, especially not when the woman has the government there as a superior provider at the drop of the hat. She's basically incentivized to cheat on every husband with the government, which is, exactly what divorce is. Divorce, in my definition, is going to be a woman cheating on her husband with the government. And you can disagree with that or not, but it just goes further than that too, because that's not an accurate enough description. The actual truth of the matter is, when you think about it, it is impossible for you to be loved for who you are, period. It does not matter, who or what you do or who or what you are. You, as a human being, you cannot be loved for yourself, period. No matter what, you always put on different masks when you interact with other people, because you know that you are, as a person, a horrible thing. You are a collection of failures. To get where you are currently, you've had to break your knees God knows how many times. You've done everything and anything wrong in the book, and you know it because you know the truth. Now, the rest of the world and your partner doesn't know the truth, but, realistically speaking, this goes for both genders, but for men it's especially important, is you cannot and you will not ever be loved for who you are. Especially as a man, you are a human doing, not a human being. You're not, the world is not obliged to offer you anything, and you shouldn't be obliged to offer the world anything back either, by the way. That's a two-way street. Not a lot of people understand or accept that, but you don't owe society anything, just in case you were wondering, so make sure you drill that into your head. But going forward, at least, it's really time to sort of, hey, it's really time to, like, dispel this illusion of, true love and love for oneself. Love for oneself is also impossible because, as I said, if you're a thinking human being, you understand all of the horrible things you've done. You understand exactly what you are, which is a collection of your failures, and you know the truth more so than anyone else. And lying to yourself about it is not going to get you anywhere. And there are already so many people that lie to themselves. Just stop being a part of that. You really don't need to be. It's not going to improve the quality of your life, like trying to flee from who and what you are and who and what you've done. Jeez. I'm gonna wait. I don't care. Haha. But yeah. So, no matter how virtuous you think you are, trust me, Twitter person, at the end of the day, I think a lot of, here's another good way to take this as well, is a lot of the, standard antithetical responses to the world and the standard, understanding of people with the world is that, for instance, like, virtue signalers and all of those people that, have to constantly promote how superior they are morally to the rest of the world. I can sort of empathize with them because of how ultimately horrible every single human being is. Just period, you're a human being, you're ultimately horrible, no matter what you would like to think. That's just a reality of the situation. And so by projecting that you, in fact, have learned from these things and have gotten up after falling to your knees X amount of times, and you're willing to do things that'll get you, recognition by the other also horrible people. I can empathize with that point of view, right? If you're someone that's not strong mentally. The reality of the situation is everyone is equally as awful. Everyone is at the bottom. Every single human being alive right now is an absolute disgrace and deserves nothing but hate and scorn. And you are not special in that. You are not... I really should change the right-click option on these. You are not unique in that, and pretending otherwise does no one any service, especially not you. You're only hurting yourself and hurting society as a whole by making these lies, and I do not understand why people do it. But it is what it is. And so, we have to wear these masks, and a lot of people will especially go out of the way to try and project their mask and sort of live it. And a lot of that plays into the Transformers movement and a lot of these other societal ills, and a lot of the people that adopt these Marxist, I don't know a decent word for it, but we'll just say, Marxist tendencies, etc. Especially after talking with some Marxists recently, worming my way into random places to just listen in, communicate with them or whatever. No matter who you are or what you are, universally speaking, it's almost impossible to be morally superior to other human beings. As I said, there are universal truths, It's universally wrong to kill anything, be it an unborn child, be it a cow, be it whatever. But how many people alive today are free of that sin? You're raised into the world with, basically having a lot of these things just shoved into your mouth. And yeah, we just consider them normal, but, it's not a credit to us as human beings that we consider a lot of these things normal or acceptable. Let's just call a spade a spade. How many of these do I actually have? Okay, so 34 extra, whatever. I'm not gonna sweat bullets over that. But, if we have to wear a mask when talking with anyone else, then de facto there is no such thing as a red string of fate binding us all together. There is no universal anything that keeps anyone together. There is no such thing as true love. And in reality, there is just a marriage of convenience for certain folks that has that appearance of true love, where it's just easy enough where, either one side is just giving up enough to where the other side is content, where they're not going to bother going through the effort of finding a superior option, or, the people just aren't wise enough to think about the other options, which is the more depressing but likely alternative truth for a lot of these true love type scenarios. And I think the concept of true love is going to dissipate more and more as birth rates decline, and governments and such start trying to take action to try and replenish the population, because we can import people from the third world all we want, but that's not going to raise the the GDP. It's not going to make the markets go up. It's not going to improve societal discourse. In fact, it's going to do the exact opposite, and it'll rip societies apart and ruin them, which, again, it's not really my concern. The West is done. The East is, the future, at least in some Chinese authoritarian sense, and beyond that, it doesn't really impact me, and I don't care too much. But going forward, at least, we need to stop pretending and stop lying to ourselves about this, that, when we don't wear a mask, when we talk to everyone, and, let's be clear, I don't talk to people in the real world, period. If, a store clerk tries to talk to me, I just don't respond, scan my shit, and then stop talking to me. Literally, it'll ruin my day if someone bothers trying to do something like that to me as well. It's literally, a strong distaste in my mouth, scorn across my visage. It is on if you try and interact with me. I give off this might surprise you looking at me through the computer screen, as I'm a radiant bundle of sunshine, I'm sure. But, I give off a heck of an aura in the real world. And that's just a mask I put on. Like, I just don't want to be interacted with. It's not like I'm entirely a hostile person. I'd like to think I'm a fairly tame individual, but, you wouldn't know that just from the way I am willing to interact, just because I don't want to talk to, anyone, period. Doesn't matter who they are. I just simply do not care. Like, just get away from me. And, you can lament that, especially a lot of the extroverts out there. Like, why? And, I'm not interested in being, like, your little subject for you to, like, leech energy off of. Like, interacting with people already is a big enough emotional drag on me. The last thing I need is some store clerk trying to talk to me. And, like, it hasn't happened in a while just because I give off that aura. But when they do, it's just, ugh. Like, I get if you're paid to ask me if I have, like, some sort of rip-off card with your company or whatever. No, I'm not going to let your company, like, stalk my purchases and, like, sell my information to others. Like, I get it. I know what the game's about. I'm not interested. Same reason I was not interested with Facebook and all of those other, like, GOI traps when they first came out. And, yeah. So basically that entire video was just all leading up to me saying I really hate interacting with anyone in the real world. Isn't that lovely? Well, as pointless and as fruitful as all of that was, I hope at least you got something out of it. I certainly know I did not, and you can be here when I buy my single last feather. Boop. Okay. Alright, that's one less thing to do, right? Always something, though. You have a good day. Organize those tasks and get them done.